I like kids, but having to teach them, no thanks. Like, no, I just don't want that. Hey everyone, it's Shida, and today I want to talk about working at a Korean company. So recently I started working at a company in Korea, and I just wanted to talk about a little bit of my experience working at companies in Korea, because I feel like a lot of foreigners don't know what that's like. A lot of foreigners in Korea especially usually work as English teachers or are students and stuff like that. So I wanted to talk about my experience and also talk about what it's like working for an animation company, because that's currently what I'm doing right now. So first off, I've usually worked a lot of in American companies. So I want to talk about like the work-life balance, like interacting with coworkers. Is it really hard for me to communicate, especially knowing that I'm not fluent in Korean? So how am I getting my work done and stuff like that? So let's get into today's video. Okay, so first I want to talk about communication. So I am not fluent in Korean, but I make it work. So I did a lot of interviews when I first started trying to switch out from working at the Hagwons to working at a Korean company within Korea. So I had about, I want to say 5 interviews in 1 week, and a lot of them, when I did the interviews, a lot of the problem I was coming into a lot of the issues that I was coming into was communication. So I would go and do my interview, and sometimes it was really difficult because I only spoke English and the interviewer only spoke Korean. So there was a lot of like awkwardness happening whenever I tried to like listen and try to understand, like, okay, what do I gotta do here? What are they trying to ask of me at this company? Like, there's a lot of miscommunication going on. So a lot of people didn't, or a lot of companies that I applied for didn't want to hire me specifically because I didn't speak Korean, which was kind of a bummer because a lot of those opportunities I like really wanted, but because my Korean language acquisition was so low, they didn't feel like it was a right fit for their company, and that's okay. I'm planning on studying more Korean and hopefully becoming more fluent in the future. So as for the company that I work for now, before there was one other company I was gonna work for, but it kind of fell through. There was also a lot of communication issues, so a lot of that ended up just falling on its face before it could even take off. So that was quite unfortunate because that was actually a really cool job and I really wanted it, but you know, shit happens, I guess. But I'm working at this job now and it's pretty cool. It's not my first choice opportunity, but it's still a pretty cool opportunity nonetheless. So with this position, I was fortunate enough that a lot of the people at this job also speak English. A lot of the younger generation these days too tend to speak English. So I was lucky in that the recruiter spoke English, as well as there's as team members of mine that also speak English. So it's pretty convenient that we are able to communicate. Now there are still some communication issues, don't get me wrong, like it's not all perfect. Like I still have, you know, issues communicating, but the thing is that these people, luckily, they are really willing to work with me and work around our communication obstacles. And I'm really fortunate of that, because at other companies that I've worked at, I did not have that. Like, I'll talk about that in another video, teaching at the Hagwons, because honestly, a disaster. Okay, really a disaster. Like,
hello darkness, my old friend.
But anyway, so I'm really happy and I'm really fortunate to be working at this company. They've helped me a lot in so many ways that I'm just so happy that they're able and willing to work with me in this sort of way. I didn't really work for that many American companies, to be honest. Like, a lot of the things that I was doing in America were either at like convenience stores or like summer camps. So I didn't have like an actual real people job in America to compare this job to. But when I was working at a temp agency, and yes, I did work at a temp agency for like, I think it was like 6 months before I came to Korea. And that's probably the most extensively I've had any experience working in an American company. And I want to note the differences, especially with work culture. A lot of times at my company, I tend to stay after work. Like, we finish at 6, and sometimes I don't go home until 9, and I start at 9. So I could be working from 9 to 9, trying to finish up projects for the company. And typically, after 6, not everyone's jumping up to go home right away. Like, people are still like hour to 2 hours still working on, you know, projects and still working on things well after the time that we're supposed to go home. And that's just kind of normal. I guess it's just a Korean thing. I've heard like a lot of, you know, whispers about Korean work life and how it's just so like they don't really have a work-life balance that's really good. Personally, I'm not of that mindset. Like, I'm personally of the mindset of work smarter, not harder. So I don't like to work hard unless I have to. Like, honestly, I'm doing my best and I'm putting in my absolute 100% at this job because they've done so much to help me. But on the other hand too, like, I don't like doing the most. Like, ultimately I just want to be chilling, maybe on a beach somewhere. Like, work is cool and all, but so is the Bahamas. So that's one thing that I feel like it's really but also Americans are also workaholics. Like, let me not play. Like, they are also not workaholics themselves. But I feel like at 5 p.m. usually people are just like ready to, like, you know, dip out. Like, okay, we've been here for like 8, 9, 10 hours already. I'm trying to go home, you know? But in comparison, Korean culture is very work. I'm not complaining though. I'm not complaining. I have a job. They're nice to me, as opposed to the jobs I was doing prior to this, because they were not very kind. I went through so much trouble, and again, I really want to make a video about that experience as well. I personally wouldn't work at a Hagwon past a year, and that's being generous. I mean, some people have really good experiences with working at Hagwons, but personally, I just did not. It was a nightmare. I hated every day of it. I really want to talk about my experience living here in South Korea as an artist. I don't really feel like a lot of people are talking about that experience, you know what I mean? Like, I really want to talk about that. Not as a teacher. I'm so happy that I don't have to teach these little Korean kids. Like, I mean, I like kids, but having to teach them, no thanks. Like, no, I just don't want that. But yeah, anyway, subscribe to my channel, please. I want to at least get to 100 subscribers within the next, I want to say, let's try for 3 to 4 months. Let's try to get to at least 100. We can do 100, right? We can do 100 subscribers. If there's any questions that you guys have about working for a Korean company in South Korea, comment in the comment section below. Ask open to your questions. Also subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you next week. Okay, bye bye.